me okay? Yeah. Okay, so for me it's a great pleasure to be amongst you this weekend, and I thank Suman Ben who invited me, and also the residents here, to have the chance to share a few ideas with you about the inner journey, about the importance of silence, and also how silence can help us to emerge, discover really the best within ourselves. Just a little bit more about my own background and why this is important to me. You heard in the beginning a little bit about my own experience. And I was around 7 or 8 years old when in London my parents started going to the local BK Center, the local BrahmaKumaris Center. And I was always interested in why people behave the way that they behave. I couldn't understand, for example, why people got angry. It certainly didn't look smart to me. I remember the first time seeing two adults shouting at each other. To me it seemed like it was two dogs barking at each other. It didn't look like smart or intelligent behavior. And I wondered why people feel jealous, why people hold grudges within themselves, why are people in a state of competition with each other, generate their own stress. And so one of the things that became clear to me is that all the problems we see in life and in the world are all based upon the way human beings behave. And it became a kind of life mission for me to firstly work on my own self. How can I be a better me? And then to help to be part of an education where others can also learn how to emerge the best from within themselves. And for me, this journey, this inner journey of self-development or personal growth, for me it is a return journey. And because it's a return journey, therefore it is possible for every person to do. Wherever I've gone in the world, I've found people want basically very similar things. Everyone wants peace of mind. Everyone wants happiness in their hearts. And everyone wants the exchange of love and respect in the relationships. Is it the same here in Bengaluru? Right? It's the same everywhere. Regardless of age, nationality, religion, culture, these are certain basic human needs that we all have. And that's why there are so many books and programs and seminars on discover your inner peace, learn how to be happy. There are no books on how to be more angry, or how to increase the stress in your life, or how to argue more with your husband or your wife. So this tells us very naturally, when we experience stress or anger or difficulty in relationships, we want to move away from that back to peace of mind. Why do we want peace of mind? Why do we want happiness? Because that's the true nature of the human soul. And that's really the premise of this whole journey, is we start with this, that the real nature of the human being is very divine, is very beautiful, is very pure. But how to make that return journey back, that's what the study is all about. Is the sound still okay? Yeah? It's coming and going. Alright. If it's really impossible to hear, please do tell me, and we will do something. Another question I used to have is, when we look around at science and technology, and of course all of you are in the world of technology, we find that technology is always being upgraded. And with computers and mobile phones, we know a smarter version comes out every few months, or sometimes it seems every few weeks. And the smarter version can do more things or better things than the previous version. And so a question would arise for me that if phones can get smarter, if technology can get smarter, then what about humans? Can you be a better version of yourself? Is there a better version of yourself trying to come out? Consider this. What would you be like version 2.0? How would you describe yourself as a better you? And you may say things like, well, I would have more control over my emotions, or I'll be more focused, I'll be able to plan better, my ability to listen would be better. All of these things are to do with our inner psychology and our emotional control. And that's what we're going to be exploring in some part of today. What is the inner world, and what can we do to bring out that best me? I firmly believe that we have more to unlearn than we have to learn. I think we need to unlearn what we have mislearned so we can relearn what we should have learned. And I'm hoping with the aid of certain exercises and activities we'll do, that you will also agree with me in that. So let's start looking at what is required in order to make this upgrade. So the first thing you need is you need to be intelligent. So a question arises, are you intelligent? No answer. No answer means yes or no in Bangalore. Yes, you must be intelligent. However, intelligence is, see, that wasn't very intelligent of me to do that. But intelligence is one of these words which has taken on new definitions. So let's look at 4 types of intelligence within this context. The one that we're used to hearing about is, of course, IQ. And as you know, that stands for a person's rational intelligence, reason, logic, analysis. And if a person has a high IQ, then we tend to say she or he is very intelligent. How's that? Is that better? Hello? Any good? Hello, hello? Is that okay now? Yeah? All right. So this was a term really used to measure how well a person would do in their academic life and in their career. And somebody with a very high IQ, we say, yeah, she's so intelligent, or he is so intelligent. And this was really the only measure we used for intelligence, was how high a person's IQ was. But of course, this is no longer enough for successful living today. There are other kinds of intelligence one also requires. And the next one up is known as this. IC, and this stands for a person's intuitive capacity. And that is your ability to tap into and listen to your own inner wisdom. Every person, every soul has an inner wisdom. But most of us don't listen to it. But inner wisdom can guide you in your daily decision making. But most people are unable to hear that inner wisdom, and the reason for that is because the mind is too noisy. Most people are simply thinking too much. People tend to be physically in one place, but mentally somewhere else. Either they are planning what I need to do after 2 hours or 3 hours, or what shopping I must do before I go home, or somebody I need to telephone, or they are remembering something which happened yesterday. Very rarely is a person mentally, physically, emotionally at the same place at the same time. And this is where silence is extremely useful for us. If we learn to build silent moments into our day-to-day life, it's just reducing the speed of my thoughts. It's coming back to a moment of stillness. When your mind is still, you're able to see a solution. When your mind is rushing, you can't see a solution to a problem, even if the solution is standing in front of you. Even if the solution slaps you in the face and says, I'm here, you don't recognize it. A rushing mind, in fact, creates complications. A quiet mind is able to see a solution, is able to gain proper perspective of a situation. So when we talk about silence here, one thing is silence of your words, silence of the mouth, but the real aim here is silence of the mind. The mouth speaks words, the mind speaks thoughts, ideas, desires, emotions. As our thoughts become calm, as our thoughts become more powerful, they also become less in quantity. Wasteful thoughts come very fast. You'll have hundreds of wasteful thoughts within a minute. But powerful thoughts are slow, they are decisive, and they are effective. Now let's do this. Before we look at the other two intelligences, let's just do a simple exercise in slowing down the mind and just experiencing that inner quietness. Would you like to do this? Okay, so if you could just sit with your back straight. Let's have your feet flat on the floor. And just let your hands be free. So if you're holding something, just put it down for a moment. This is a very simple exercise called as a creative visualization. So we don't need music here, and just keep the lights as they are. When we do creative visualization, which is like a kind of preliminary step before meditation, it's all about learning to direct your thoughts. So I will speak out a simple guiding commentary. If you wish, you can close your eyes for this particular exercise. So this is called the quiet room. And so just sit comfortably. Just be with yourself. And for these next few moments, I just want to experience relaxing the body, but also relaxing the mind. And so just bring your attention from the outside world to the inside. Bring your attention up towards your face. And bring your attention to the center of your forehead. here at the center of your forehead, picture a small room. And this tiny room in the center of your forehead, this is your quiet room of peace. Just to visualize this beautiful, quiet room of peace in the center of your forehead. And this is your private and personal space. When you are inside your quiet room, you feel very relaxed. Inside your quiet room, you can be yourself. Here, inside your room, you feel safe, secure. You can let go of your daily roles and responsibilities. Inside your quiet room, you can drop the masks that you wear every day. Feel the peace, the silence, the serenity of your quiet room. Just allow your mind to absorb this atmosphere of tranquility, stillness. And as you do so, the thoughts begin to slow down. The mind becomes quiet, calm, relaxed, peaceful, and free. Just be with this feeling of peace in your mind for 1 minute. And now, gently, I return to the awareness of this room here. So when you're ready, then just open your eyes. So, how do you feel? Anybody feel a bit more relaxed? If this works for you, then try and do it every day, maybe several times during the day. Especially when you're feeling stressed, nervous, maybe there's some fear, some worry, some anger. Just take a moment to just go from this world of doing to the world of being. Go to your quiet room for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and just recharge your soul battery. And in fact, we call this practice as traffic control for the mind. Now, how is the traffic here in Bengaluru? Is it good or clear? Terrible. It's similar in Istanbul. How many people living here in Bengaluru? Population, I mean the population. How much? Oh, okay, it's that much, yeah. Istanbul is about 15 million approximately. And over there, there are road signs and traffic lights, but they tend to be more suggestions. People see them more as suggestions rather than rules. And therefore there's a lot of big traffic over there. We know that if one car is parked in the wrong place, it can block 100 other cars. So much time, energy, money is wasted. In the same way, in your mind, one waste thought, one negative thought, one weak thought, one useless thought can block your creativity, block your happiness, block your peace. And you may fight with the blockage, but the thing to do is to learn to remove the waste thought. So when we practice traffic control, it's a question of coming back to the very essence of who I am. I am a peaceful being. I am light. I am energy. The things you hear in the meditation this morning, when you come back to the very essence of who you are, it gives you a soul recharge. And that helps you to remove the block, remove the waste thoughts from your way. It's also useful to find fixed times during the day when you can do this. Don't just think, well, when I have time, I will do it. Because as you know, unless you fix a time, things just drift. So for us, for example, we choose in the day 10:30 in the morning, we choose 12 o'clock, you may choose mid-afternoon 2:30, you may choose 5:30. Find times which are useful for you and possible for you according to your schedule. And then try to stick to those times every day. To start with, you may do one mid-morning and one mid-afternoon. But the important thing is the regularity in the practice. Experiment for 1 week and see how you feel at the end of that week. And you will find if you're saving your mental energy, it's the game changer. Life becomes much more simple when you learn to save mental energy. When you feel tired mentally and emotionally, the worst comes out of you. Anger and irritation, impatience and so on. When your mental energy is high, you can tolerate, you can understand, you can let go. So traffic control is a skill to learn to be able to conserve the energy of the mind. Let's continue with these intelligences. The next one up is again a very popular one, and is, as you would know, this stands for emotional intelligence. And that's to do with two things. One is your ability to understand and manage your own emotions. And two is how well you can understand the emotions of others. How are other people feeling? And for those of you who may be team leaders at work, or even parents, It's very important to know how other people are feeling in order to be able to relate to them. But the first thing is, how well can you manage your own emotions? So take, for example, if you are in a bad mood, how long does your bad mood last? How long is the average Bengaluru bad mood? 1 hour. 1 hour. Anybody more? Any advance on 1 hour? Half a day. All right. Well, it shouldn't be more than that. And the aim, of course, is to reduce that. Because one knows that if I'm in a bad mood, then I am useless to myself, and I'm also useless to other people. It's like there is a sign here saying, don't talk to me today. Yeah? Don't make any jokes because I'm not going to laugh. Yeah? And so when you're in a bad mood, then people find it difficult to communicate with you. They have to wait until you recover before you can be effective and productive once again. And so one should see within the self, what causes me to fall into a bad mood? And what can we do about that? So we'll be exploring emotions, where they come from, how to deal with them a little later in our program. But then there is what is here considered to be the highest of the intelligences. Sometimes it's considered a combination of the intelligences. What do you think would come here? Yeah, that's right. SQ, which stands for spiritual intelligence. Now again, a big word, but what do we mean by spiritual intelligence? It's connected with two main things. One is to do with your sense of identity. And the question that raises is, who am I? How do I see myself? What is the image of myself which I am carrying around with me the whole day long? And this is the quintessential question. This is the most important question in the human life experience. Who am I? Now, it has been said, the key to all happiness lies in the answer to the riddle, who am I? That was spoken by Bapdada. Socrates, the Greek philosopher, said, the unexamined life is not worth living. And we know today, certainly this is my belief, that this is the missing area in human life today, to have a clear sense of who am I. I believe the human race is passing through a global identity crisis. This leads to inner conflict within a person, and when I'm in conflict with myself, then of course I'll come in conflict with you, and you, and you, and you. But it also means the beginning of the solution is when I begin to get the answer right. So we'll explore the identity question. But also with identity, the second part of spiritual intelligence is to do with purpose. And the question that asks is, how clear are you about why you are doing whatever you are doing? How clear are you about your purpose, which is behind your motivation for doing whatever you're doing in your life? I find most people tend to lose motivation quite easily. They start something with huge enthusiasm, very motivated, but then when you see them after a while, they say, I gave up. I couldn't continue. I lost my motivation. It could be for anything. for study, for going on a diet, going to the gym, for anything. Why do we run out of motivation? Why do we make plans that don't become practical? And that's because the motivation is coming from the wrong place. You start something, but only half finish. And then you may get very motivated to do something else. Stop halfway. And a third thing, and a fourth thing. But people who have high SQ, I have noticed two things in them. One is they own their motivation. Their motivation is in their own hands. They have worked out who I am and why I am doing what I am doing. So even if such a person fails at something, even if such a person is criticized, he or she does not become disheartened. But the motivation carries that person through failure and through challenges. So one is this. The second sign of higher motivation is having a deep-seated sense of contentment. Consider this question. Who owns your happiness? Self? Really? Theoretically, that's the right answer. But then ask yourself, do you ever say anything like, he makes me very angry, or she makes me feel stressed, you make me very nervous? Do you ever say something like this? Yeah? Yeah, we do, right? Means at that moment I'm saying, you own my happiness. It's because of you that I am angry. Because of you I am nervous. So I'm saying, you are controlling my emotional state. You are in charge of my happiness. If you are nice to me, I am happy. If you ignore me or you are criticizing me, I am not happy. So at that moment, I am living with the model, you are my emotional master and I am your emotional slave. But that's something we have to step out of. And spiritual intelligence reminds us that no, the thing that is my first responsibility is my thoughts and my feelings. Regardless of situations, people, circumstances, comments, what is within me is in my own hands if I choose for it to be so. Making that shift is a big part of this internal inner growth. Let's look at one or two examples to see the importance of unlearning and growing out of certain behaviors. So let's put this up. So question, what do you see? Spiral? Somebody said spiral? Yeah? If you could raise your hand before you say something so I know who is speaking. Yes? A dot in the center. Okay. All right. Sorry? What do you see? A snail shell. Okay, yeah. Sometimes people say that. All right. Over at the back there. Sorry? Circle. Okay, could be a circle. Okay, over here. And that's beautiful. Infinity, no beginning and no end. All right, thank you. Okay, all right. That's nice. Yes, sir. A whirlpool. Okay. Over here. Expanding, something that's expanding. All right. Go for this side of the room. Yeah. Depth. Yeah. Okay, some interesting answers there. Sometimes people say, I see a thumbprint. Sometimes people say, I see the universe. And I think between thumbprint and universe is pretty much everything. But you gave some creative ideas about what this might be, what it could represent. However, there is a however. And the however is that all the answers you gave were all about this. Nobody mentioned, I also see this white, clear, empty, available space as well. Your eyes immediately went to this. I did not ask, what did I draw? I asked, what do you see? So because your eyes went to this, all your creative thinking went into what this might be. All your energy went into finding what this could perhaps symbolize. Although you did see all this white space, but you did not give attention to it. Now this, I'll come to in just a second. This is an example of the physical eyes, but the point I'm making, which is the important point, is what does the eye of your mind choose to see as you pass through day-to-day life? That's in your hands. As you pass through the day, some people will be very similar to you. Some people will be different to you. Some people will praise you to the skies. Some people will criticize you. Some people will give you a bunch of flowers. Some people will throw some stones at you. Sometimes the same person who's giving you the flowers will throw the stones as well, within the space of 1 hour maybe. All kinds of things happen in life. Sometimes you're successful, sometimes you fail. But through it all, the important point is, what does the mind, your mind's eye, choose to see in that? Now some of you will know this beautiful phrase that Jaisi aapki drishti, vaise aapki srishti. So those who don't know, as is your vision, so is your world. Now usually when we don't like something in our world, or we don't like someone in our world, we try to fight with that. We try to force change. And hence we generate conflict. We create tension. And we lose our mental energy. The question is, can I see differently? The situation I don't like, or the person I find difficult, can I see from another angle? Can I make a shift in my vision and attitude and see something different? Doing that kind of inner work is extremely rewarding. For me, a very lovely and simple definition of spirituality is simply an upgrade in your attitude and in your vision. But this is also where the greatest challenge is. Because not only do we have certain beliefs, certain styles of seeing people and situations, but we have also developed a deep attachment to seeing situations in my way. That's the way I see this. This is my style. This is my opinion. When we become very attached to our own opinions and beliefs, we can spend a whole lifetime being a victim of those beliefs. Silence and self-awareness helps us to see what is going on within our own mind. In fact, within our consciousness, and to make a shift on the inside. And here's the thing, when you make a shift in your consciousness and you begin to see things from a higher angle, the circumstances in your life will also change. Okay? A beautiful sentence I came across, which I love to meditate on and reflect on, is life is not happening to you. Life is responding to you. Now just think about that for a long time. Life is not happening to you. Life is responding to you. Which asks me the question, what signals am I sending out into life, which life at some point is going to bring back to me in the form of situations, circumstances, relationships, and so on? Not just my actions, but my words create an impact. Not just my words, but my attitude, my thoughts, the vibrations of my thoughts is like sending a signal, a message out into the world. And when I begin to improve that, which is what we are here to do, you'll notice how even circumstances begin to shift. Now, Madame, did you have your hand up a bit earlier? You wanted to say something? I was tricking you. Now, I take your point exactly. I was using this as really the aim was to give this message about the eye of your mind. And I also speak from experience that, sometimes you're in a situation, something seems to have gone wrong, or you've made a mistake, and you can get so lost in that, it becomes your whole world. You can't see anything else. It's like you're lost in the problem. And the reality is, actually, it's not such a big issue. One of the things I was told once by one of our senior teachers was that the way to deal with any adversity is first to stabilize yourself in your self-respect. First do that. Then look at the problem, look at the challenge, look at the situation, and you will see it very differently. Do not immediately try to solve problems. First, stabilize your mind in peace, in self-respect, in balance. Then the eye of your mind will open, and you'll be able to see even opportunities in a situation which you previously labeled as disaster. This is the wonder of a still and stable mind. I believe not just in this sense, but also physically, our body responds positively when the mind becomes quiet. And I'm hoping this weekend you will experience in your own self the wonder of making the mind quiet. We mentioned the importance of unlearning. So a question arises, the things that you have learned in your life so far, how have you learned them? Experiencing, yeah. Yes, sir? Experimenting, okay. All right. Yeah, yes, okay. Let's do a little exercise in human learning styles. This would require you to stand up for just a moment. Would that be okay? Okay, so there's only one rule in this exercise, and that rule is you must do as I say. Do you agree? Do you trust me? Really? All right, okay. So first thing you do is you just put your right arm out. Some of you may need to move a little bit. And just have your arm parallel to the floor. All right, good. Now just bring your hand in towards your body. Keep your hand parallel to the floor. And move your arm out again. Keep the concentration. Now just bring your finger and your thumb together. And bring this in towards your body. Not too fast, not too slow. Okay, good. You're doing very well. And now move your arm out again. And just extend your hand as far as it can go. One last time, bring your hand in towards your body. Bring it up to your face, and gently, very gently, just touch your chin and freeze. Hold it right there. Just keep it there. Do not move. Okay, now what did I say? Touch your chin. And what are most of you doing? Chin is down here. And this is called a cheek. Some of you got it right. But why are you doing this? So you blame Yogesh, as usual. Just blame Yogesh. This shows that although you made an agreement, yes, I will do as you say, but you broke that agreement so quickly, you chose to do as I did, not as I said. What this shows is as human beings we learn more through our eyes than through our ears. Okay, thank you. You can sit down. And in this regard, we learn through observing others, especially in terms of our emotional behaviors. Who have been your main teachers in this regard? Parents, right? Very older brother, older sister, a particular friend. Especially when we are children, we don't analyze or think too much. We observe, we absorb, and we mimic, we copy. And by the time we have been repeating those behaviors and become adults, some of them have become deep-rooted habits. Research shows by the time a child is around 7 or 8, about 40 to 50% of the whole life learning has been completed already. Because it's one-way information. Of course, we have learned many good things. But as well as that, we have learned some self-limiting habits. And those self-limiting habits, unless we act upon them, they influence our whole life. How we deal with people, how you handle failure. Think about that. What's your relationship with failure? How you deal with criticism? What do you do when you're successful? How do you handle being challenged? In all of these areas, it's possible to grow out of self-limiting beliefs. But the way to do that is something called self-awareness. Becoming aware of my inner landscape. What is self-awareness? How can we grow out of these limited models? And how to emerge the best from within myself? So the answers to all of those questions and more will be after the break. All right? So we have reached our break time. And just before we go for the break, let's just have a moment of silence together.